SHS Nightly News. Tonight, our main story will once again be focusing on the crisis in the Ukraine. Press conferences from earlier today with President Obama and President Vladimir Putin will be brought to you along with live coverage from Kiev, Ukraine. If you have not been following the crisis, here's an update on what's been happening in the past few months. In November of 2013, over 100,000 protesters took to the streets in the city of Kiev as a result of Ukrainian President Yanukovych backing out of a financial agreement with the European Union and signing a $15 billion financial aid package with Russia. By mid-December, over 800,000 protesters were occupying Kiev, including the city hall. Since then, the situation has continuously gotten worse, and on January 16th, Parliament passed a law which restricted protesters, making them more furious and violent, storming government buildings. But on the 28th of January, this law was taken away. February brought protesters occupying government buildings, the worst day of violence in Kiev in over 70 years, and the disappearance of President Yanukovych. Since the beginning of March, Russian forces have been placed into the Ukraine. Pro-Russian rallies have occurred in many Ukrainian cities. Crimea voted to join with Russia on March 16th, and President Obama had a 90-minute phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, which the White House described as the most difficult of his career. We will now bring you coverage from a press conference with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
You, right there.
What do you hope to gain by putting pressure on the Ukraine?
We wanted to protect Russian citizens in the Crimea, and now they have decided they want to become part of Russia. Mostly by putting pressure on the Ukraine, we hope to gain more territory.
And what do you think about the actions of the United States?
The United States has put up economic sanctions against us, but this is not a big deal or problem to us in Russia. President Obama and I have spoke, and he said that the Crimean referendum was a violation of international law, but we just want to protect our fellow Russian citizens. The United States is not hurting us by these actions.
Now we will bring you to the press conference with President Barack Obama.
You over there on the left.
How do you believe the United States should proceed?
Let me be clear. The United States of America, as a law-abiding nation, believes that President Putin needs to approach his actions in a more diplomatic view. He should not use his brute force for any reason.
What would you like to see Vladimir Putin do?
I would like to see President Putin retreat his army in the Crimean lands and allow the Ukraine to decide on this alone without intervention.
What do you believe Vladimir Putin's motives are?
It's not quite clear. I believe President Putin is in search of land in the Ukraine for expansion of Russia. But with that, he is violating international laws.
That was President Barack Obama, and now we will bring you to Alex, who is live in Kiev, Ukraine.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm Alexander Gavoni. I'm here in the region of Kiev, on the outskirts of where all the main action of the rebellion is. Here live with
Anna Korakova.
and she is a pro-Russian Ukrainian. Now, do you think that the Ukraine will invade any further than they already have?
I think that Russians will continue to invade further into Crimea and into the Ukraine to gain more territory.
What do you believe Russia's main goal is in taking the land of Crimea?
I think that Russia's main goal is to gain territory and the power that they want, and to become a threat to the U.S. and other nations.
Do you believe America should get involved? And if so, how is it?
I believe that the Americans should not get involved as a Russian standpoint, because that may open up a violence opportunity, and that would have to be reciprocated by the Russians.
Okay, and has your life changed in any dramatic ways?
It's become more hostile in the Ukraine, and that's been a negative impact on everyone's life.
Russian foreign minister told that the country has no plans to send his troops any further. However, Russian forces gathering on the border with eastern Ukraine may be poised to invade. It is very upsetting to see our country have military bases on our border.
Now, how has your life changed with this crisis happening?
It has changed our lives a lot. We have to use Russian's money now, and we have to learn how to speak Russian. Also, the military is everywhere, and we feel as if we have no lifestyle choices anymore.
And do you believe that America should get involved, and if so, why?
I do not believe that they should because it can cause an even bigger war, and giving out threats that aren't backed up can cause much more issues.
Thank you.
That's the end of our broadcast for tonight. Stay tuned in the next few days for more updates on the Ukrainian crisis.